Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another Jurassic World figure review. Today we have a very special figure to take a look at today. It's been one I've been wanting for a good while now, and I'm super stoked to finally have it. I found this at my local Walmart. I've seen it at my local Walmart, I just haven't gotten around to getting it, but I finally have been able to acquire it, and I'm super excited because I really enjoyed it in the new Jurassic World Rebirth movie. But today, everyone, we're going to be taking a look at the Jurassic World aerial ambush Quetzalcoatlus. So finally, we have the new Quetzalcoatlus figure from Jurassic World Rebirth. And even though, I'm already going to say this right now, even though it is not entirely accurate to what we see on screen in the film, it is still an awesome figure. This thing is huge. This is definitely Mattel's biggest pterosaur they've ever released, but also the biggest Quetzalcoatlus that they've ever made. This one is so much better in scale with the human figures, as you can see right here, but we'll get a better look at that later on. And yeah, this thing is just huge. The box is huge. The wingspan of just one of the wings is huge. This thing is super impressive, and I'm looking forward to comparing it with the other two Quetzals that we've gotten from Mattel. But yeah, this thing just looks awesome. I loved it in the movie, even though the Dominion or the Biosyn Quetzalcoatlus is still superior in terms of design. I really enjoyed this one, this variant seen in the film. So super stoked to have this one in hand. Taking a look at the packaging, it's your standard Rebirth packaging with the typical red and black and gray colors, the Jurassic World Rebirth logo, the aerial ambush Quetzalcoatlus. It says "Try me" because it is electronic. The background is really cool because you got the ocean back here and some of the cliffs from the island, which is pretty standard and typical because the Quetzalcoatlus made a nest inside one of the little native-made temples or caves on the inside, carved inside one of these cliff sides. So that is really cool. As you can see right here, we got a nice little render of the Quetzalcoatlus. Not one of the main movie CGI renders. These are one of the more, I guess, stylized looking ones. But it pretty much captures the look of the new Quetzalcoatlus. Then over here, you got some cool little bonus in-game boost for the Jurassic World Facts app. I used to have this app, but I had to get rid of it in order to make room to do more YouTube videos. So, I don't think I'm missing a whole lot, but I think that's really cool. And you got the size of the figure. I'm not sure if I think this is supposed to represent the size of the toy, not the size of the actual animal from the film. But I do like that because this is the actual look of the animal from the film. And I like how it has the InGen logo. That is so cool. Seeing that logo next to a Quetzalcoatlus is so cool. Because I'm pretty sure this Quetzalcoatlus pretty much represents InGen's attempt at a Quetzalcoatlus during the Masrani era days when Masrani owned InGen, because these were all made on this island in preparation to add some more things to the Jurassic World theme park. So this one pretty much came before Biosyn's Quetzal attempt, at least from what we know right now. So that is really cool. We got a Quetzal from InGen, at least from Masrani, and then we have one from Biosyn. So that is really cool if you're into hardcore Jurassic lore like I am. You got the Jurassic World Rebirth logo on one side, same on the other side, and some cool stuff here on the back. Here, you got the Facts app information, shows you can flap. I know for sure this one does not flap. I've seen reviews of this figure. I guess if you just shake it, it can flap. But one of the cool things is that you can make it stand like an actual pterosaur, which is something that Mattel has done before with some of their more articulated figures, but I always didn't like bending the bendy wire wings. But this is so much better in my opinion, and I'll get into more of that. It says the wings can expand, and it can roar, and it can chomp, so that's really cool. And then here at the top shows you the aerial ambush Quetzalcoatlus, and it's part of the air category, so that is really cool. And yeah, this is such an awesome figure. So let's go ahead and open it up and take a closer look at this thing. Alrighty, so here we have the Quetzalcoatlus out of the packaging, and holy cow, this thing is massive. The wingspan on this thing is incredible. it is huge. This is definitely the biggest Quetzalcoatlus we've ever gotten from Mattel. This is something I would have killed to have as a kid. I would have loved playing with this, especially seeing it, or after seeing it in a Jurassic movie. This thing is just awesome looking. Wow, I love this thing so much. And I thought it'd be heavier too, but it's not. So it's actually really easy to manipulate, which is really cool. I don't even know where to start. This thing just looks so good. Yeah, it just looks so good. So actually, we're just gonna jump right in. I'm gonna talk about Sculpt first. So the Sculpt is really well done. It pretty much captures the Quetzalcoatlus in Rebirth. Not 100%. A lot of these toys are always going to be based off of early designs and concept art, so it's not going to be based off of the final product or the final CGI look that we get in the film, which is sometimes a bit of a bummer. But you know, this one captures the look of it pretty nicely, even though it's not entirely accurate, both in terms of the sculpt and in the colors. So yeah, let's just get into it. So starting off with the head, you got the classic new Quetzalcoatlus look for the head. I really like how the movie kind of made it different than the Biosyn variant. This one's got more of like a hook, like a harpoon hook on the tip of its beak. Kind of reminiscent, like the way how thick the beak looks. I kind of got vibes from like a toucan or even a hornbill, which is another type of bird, where they have like these really cool large looking beaks, sometimes with little crests or hooks sticking out of it like that. So that's the vibe I got, and it looks really good. Mattel pretty much nailed it in terms of the look of that. Just that really cool looking arrow shaped hook up here for the front of the beak. Makes it stand out. And I like how the beak is made out of like this smoother kind of texture, very reminiscent to some bird beaks, which is really cool. I really do appreciate that. I like how jagged some of the edges are too. And you got the little nostrils right there. Some more cool little textures here around the hole of the skull. And then here around the eye region. It's more of like this really rough skin texture. And I like how tiny the eye is too. So it looks really nice with some texturing around the eye socket as well. Looking really nice. And then the lower beak, again, is pretty smooth like the rest of the beak, which I really do like. And then the lower side, see if I can get a better look here, is more of like this really rough skin texture, which is actually pretty accurate to what we see in the film. Just some rough skin texture. And then here, oh, you got like this really cool little notch bump area on the top right here, which I think is pretty accurate as well too. Then starting off with the back of the head, or starting off with the neck, I guess, got some nice little quilled looking filaments, which again is pretty accurate, though they're not as dramatic looking, more pronounced, more elongated, you know, quills that we see in the film. And they were actually more like quills rather than feathers. They looked like porcupine quills actually, and I like how they could flare up when it's like aggressive or something like that. I think that's really cool. So nicely done up here. Not exactly how they are in the film, but they do look really nice. And then all throughout the neck is covered in pycnofibers, which is what the filaments are called on these flying reptiles or pterosaurs, which is really nicely done, nicely sculpted, and the shading based on your light source captures the look or the detail of these pycnofibers, which is really well done. So I really like that a lot. Here on the underside, some more feathered, or not feathered, pycnofibers around the edge of the neck. And starting even from here around the throat area is where the pycnofibers, these little filaments start. This part around the lower jaw is just skin. And then here around the body, which looks really good. I love the sculpt work of the pycnofibers here on the back. They look really good. And they're really like crisp and sharp. Not like, you know, sharp, but they just look really clean. And just the sculpt work just looks so good. And you can just feel it too. It feels really good. So the filaments here are spot on, and I like how you can see some of the little muscles in the body kind of sticking up with the spine right here. Some of the little, what do you call it? The little hip bones kind of sticking out right here as well. Just looking really good. And then the cute little tail at the tip, at the end of the body right here, looking really nice as well. I think it's really cool because the InGen Quetzalcoatlus has a really you know, signature little stumpy tail, whereas the Biosim one had like almost like a lengthy fur looking tail, kind of like what you'd see like on some other mammals, like a I don't know, maybe like a dog with a lot of shaggy hair on a elongated tail or something like that. So I thought that was really interesting. Moving on to the arms, pretty muscular. You can see some of the little musculature. Really nice sculpt on the pycnofibers all over the length of the arm right here. Some more of the membrane here on the wings coming from this part all the way to the shoulder. Here all the way to the hands, which are looking really nice too. Got some nice little ridges on the little fingers and some really nice looking, sharp looking claws on the hands, and another some more detail on this finger as well. A little bit of texturing, which I think is supposed to represent more of the pycnofibers, but that goes all the way down to the tip of the wing. Same with the other side, looking very nice as well. And on the other side of the wings, which are pretty much the same detail with the pycnofibers, and you got the little wing membrane right here looking really nice. Then here at this part of the body, some more well done sculpt work on the pycnofibers. The little filaments here all over the body, which looks really good. I like how these little filaments are a lot more thicker and longer, whereas the rest of the body are more shorter and finer. So that's really cool. Got some variation right there. Some more muscle definition around the body. And here at the lower end, I think this is some more filaments right here, or maybe some skin. Kind of hard to tell. But then the legs look really nice as well. Nicely coated in these pycnofiber filaments. You got a little bit of a wing membrane right there on the back of the leg, which is really cool. And all the way down the leg, the feet look really nice as well. Nice sharp talons right there. Smooth texturing on the underside of the feet, that's not a big deal. And some cool ridges on each of the toes. And yeah, really nicely done on the sculpt work of this Quetzalcoatlus. It is phenomenal. Mattel, you did a fantastic job. You got the little facts up here on the side of the leg, which is really interesting. Makes sense, it's not gonna be on the wings because they're very soft. Speaking of the wings, which is really cool, is made out of a softer, it's basically soft fabric sewn in place, as you can see right here, so they can stick on, which is really cool. Really captures the look of the wing membranes, in my opinion, more than what Mattel did with some of their Hammond collection and Amber collection pterosaurs with the rubber wings. I really like them being made this, man, what's the word for it? This soft material, cloth looking material, fabric, whatever it is. I like that a lot more. It gives it more of the illusion that they are wing membranes, in my opinion. And it's also kind of a reference to Kenner when they did their pterosaurs, specifically their large pteranodon from the Lost World and their Quetzalcoatlus, which interestingly, that Quetzalcoatlus, the way it has like a really big head and a large beak, really reminds me of the Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus, because this one focuses more on the large front half of the beak, so that's really cool. And then, like I said, Kenner had those pterosaurs with the fabric wings as well, so that's really cool. Kind of a cool little callback, and they look really good too. They feel good. Obviously, it's fabric, but I think it's really cool how they're all sewn into the wings and as well as the body, so that's really cool. Actually, they're not even sewn into the body. They're sewn into this little plastic rubbery piece on the underside right here, which is really cool. You can see the little stitch work that's been going on here, as well as here on the side of the body, so that is really cool. The detail, or at least the paint job, actually, the colors on the wings are really nicely done as well. I like the blue, the shade of blue it has with the cool black stripes coming down, and the nice detail in the veins in the wings, capturing that almost bat-like appearance in the wings, which is so cool. Mattel knocked it out of the park with that. The same thing can be seen on the other side, except the wing membranes. Actually, there is really no color on this side. The only reason why you can see color is when the sun is shining through, you can see the pattern from the other side. So it kind of makes up for there not being anything here, because the colors from the opposing side are showing on this side. So that is really cool as well. But yeah, just really nice work on the striping patterns as well as the veins. It looks so cool. Yeah, Now, in terms of accuracy to the film, from what I noticed by studying the renders, because I like to draw dinosaurs too, so I always, when I did draw the Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus, and I was studying the render, the CGI render, and a lot of the pictures from the film, and there's a lot of things I noticed from the film version than this toy version, is not only just the colors, but the sculpt as well. Because there's some slight differences, like what I said about the quills on the top of the head, and interestingly, the entirety of the figure, or the sculpt of the animal in the film, is not covered in pycnofibers. It's all just bare skinned, kind of going back to the classic days of pterosaurs without any filaments on it. However, the only way filaments were present on the Quetzalcoatlus in the film was only the lower half of the body. So this part of the body, and I think a little bit on the legs, were all covered in filaments, and maybe a little bit of the neck. Everything else from the top half of the body, all throughout the rest of the neck and the legs and the arms, were just bare skin. So I thought that was very interesting, even considering the fact that the Quetzalcoatlus from Biosyn was covered in more filaments than the InGen Rebirth one. So I thought that was very interesting. Everything else is pretty much identical to the movie in some capacity. Obviously the lower beak here is a lot more shorter, leaving more of an underbite occurrence, even though the one in the film has no underbite look to it. Almost forgot about the mouth. The inside of the mouth, which you can open up, you can see the nice little gum flaps here on the side, nice and glossy, with that pink color, giving it like that wet saliva look. The inside of the mouth looks really nice as well, if I can get my camera to focus. There we go. And the tongue looks really good too. I love how it's like in this curved pose, and I like the texture on the tongue and that wet glossy look on the paint. Just gives it that wet saliva look to it. It just looks so good. And then the underside of the top of the mouth, unfortunately, is not painted in this pink fleshy color. It's just kind of this plain black color. Now for the colors of this Quetzalcoatlus, they're really good. They capture it from the film close enough, not perfect. For the entirety of the figure is like this really dark black color, which is pretty cool. And you got a little bit like this light beige for this part of the beak, some really nice light orange dots for the inside of this little hook area, which I think in the film these are actually like little indentations in the actual beak itself that look like they're different colors, but obviously Mattel just put the dots in to kind of give off that illusion. A little bit of a red around the eye, which is a yellow eye with a black pupil, which looks really good, makes it pop. Got some light gray stripes here on the back of the head and a little bit on the underside, and a really cool looking red patch for the throat area, which looks really cool. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else is all just like this black color, except for those few colors on the top of the head, as well as the inside of the mouth too. And then you got this really nice blue shade with the black stripes for the wings. Now I think it's pretty much somewhat accurate to the film. They got the red marking correct, the eye around the eye correct. However, the entirety of the beak was like this orangish beige color for the beak. Sadly, that's not on this figure, with a little bit of some black stripes on the top right here. The quills had some like little light white stripes on it, kind of like the quills of the raptors from Jurassic Park 3. Now these stripes are pretty accurate. However, the one in the film are like this bluish, greenish, turquoise color for the stripes on the neck, which would have continued a little bit down to the body, but sadly there's not those same colors. Everything else is like this black color, and then the hands and the feet were like this beige color as well, like the color of skin a little bit. Now the wings too, the top of the wings are this blue color, which is pretty accurate on this one. However, on the underside, the wings would have been this red color, red orangish color, which sadly it would have been cool if Mattel was able to do that with the fabric, have one side be orange and the other side be blue to kind of make it more film accurate, but it's not the end of the world. I really love the blue wings. This is something almost like what Kenner would have given us, and like I said, I would have loved to have this as a kid. So yeah, the colors and the sculpt work are fantastic on this figure. Now, this video is already starting to get long. I'm trying to hurry up here. Articulation wise, for the head right here, I mean, you got some things that can freely move, but they just kind of snap back into place because of the action feature. In terms of freely moving something and having it stay there, you got this really cool headpiece articulation that can make the head go down, which looks really cool. You can make it like peck at something, and it can go up in like a cool flying position. It can even twist a little bit. Not a whole lot, but you got a little bit of twisting here and there. And this part of the neck, I've seen this, a lot of people say this on their other reviews, but it doesn't even really move. There is no twist to it, and it cannot go up and down all that much. So I don't know what this is used for, but it's pretty interesting. I don't want to force it though, because I really do not want to break it. Other than that, each of the hands, which is very interesting, can move, very similar to the Amber Collection Pteranodon. It can go up or down about that far, I think, or can it go, yeah, there you go, down about that far, up about that far, as well as rotate, which is really cool. And the legs here, each leg can individually move forward, move, wow, back about that far, forward about that far. So, whew, you got some really nice motion in this figure right here. A lot of great picture taking potential right here. So basically just forward and backwards. And then the ankles right here, so there's no knee joints, but the ankles right here can move down about that far, up about that far, and it can swivel 360. So kind of like the hands. And then the tail does not move, but it's made out of like a softer material, kind of. A bit more sturdy though. And that's pretty much it in terms of articulation. Now this articulation really shines thanks to the action feature. So you got a button right here. You got two buttons. One button controls the jaw and the sound effects. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So that is really cool, and it's very fluent. The button doesn't give at all. It's very fluent and just allows me to push the button, and the mouth opening and it roaring is really cool. And the sounds are pretty accurate too to what we get in the film with some of those sounds. I heard some of the sounds being reused from the Biosyn Quetzalcoatlus from Dominion, as well as some newer ones in there as well. Though of course the Quetzal didn't make a whole lot of noise in Dominion in some cases, so maybe some of these noises that we heard now were part of that. I don't know, but really cool. Now the other button right here can only work after we do something else. So this is so cool. You can position each of the arms down. If we push them down, I guess this counts as an articulation point, but if you push each of the arms down, they'll click into place, and you can put it in a landing pose. So if we fix the arms or the hands here to make it look more natural, and if we fix the feet, push them down so they can be flat against the ground. Yeah, that's good enough right there. And if we position the neck down, oh, that is so cool. Look at that. Finally, Mattel has given us a large-scaled pterosaur that can stand on all fours like a real pterosaur. That is so cool. And to have a Quetzalcoatlus do this, man, this is awesome. I would have loved this as a kid. I would have had this guy land and terrorize the people on the ground, pecking at smaller dinosaurs and humans. Oh, that's just so cool. That is so cool. That's gonna make displaying this guy so cool. I love how the wings can just bend like that. Mattel, fantastic job on this Quetzalcoatlus. Now, the other button, this is where this other button comes in. This one, you can make it flap its wings out or jut its wings out as if it's about to take flight. So if you just push it, let's see if I can get it this far. Oh, that is so cool. So you just push this button and the wings just spread out like that as if it's ready to take flight. And then boom, it flies off the cliffside and attacks somebody. So that is fantastic. I love this Quetzalcoatlus. Definitely in terms of just the size and the features, everything, this is the best one, I would say. Now, let's go ahead and get on with some size comparisons, because this is already starting to become 20 minutes long now. Human figure size, as you can see, pretty dang large. Actually, let me see if I can get a better position here. I wonder if I can get, oh my gosh, I can make it stand like that. That is so cool. Okay, I gotta get it up like this. So as you can see, this pterosaur is huge compared to a human figure. So that looks really cool. Now let's go ahead and get it in a standing position so we can get a good view of how that is. Okay. Put the head down. Put the human guy right there. Oh, that is so cool. And I think it's fairly accurate to a real life Quetzalcoatlus too. Because this one isn't entirely accurate to what we see in Rebirth, because this guy would have to be small enough to fit inside the pterosaur's mouth after that poor Leclerc guy from Rebirth gets swallowed up by that Quetzal. Man, that death was brutal. But it's not entirely accurate in terms of scale, but it is pretty fairly accurate. I mean, it's larger than other pterosaurs, so that to me is all I need because it looks so good. So now let's quickly take a look at this Quetzalcoatlus compared with others that Mattel has released. So, starting off with Mattel's very first attempt at a Quetzalcoatlus figure, this is the Dino Rivals Mega Dual Attack Quetzalcoatlus figure from 2019. And look, I loved this figure when it came out because it was like my very first Jurassic Park Quetzalcoatlus toy. It is still really good. I like the colors. But man, it is so tiny compared to this massive beast right here, even with a human involved right here. It's just so cool, and you can see the difference in the shapes of the head. Obviously this one's a bit more accurate, like and this one's obviously not as accurate, but in terms of the head sculpt, because these dinosaurs are not pure like some of the Biosyn clones. But this is really cool seeing these two different ones together. And here it is, the Rebirth Quetzalcoatlus compared with the Dominion Quetzalcoatlus from 2022. And again, this one's the same size as the previous one, so as you can see, much smaller than this one, which is really funny considering that the Dominion Quetzal is like literally 10 times bigger than the Rebirth one, and yet the sizes are completely different in toy form. But as you can see, a difference. So here we got the two different designs of the Quetzalcoatlus in the Jurassic franchise, which is really cool. Same species, but two different companies, InGen and Biosyn. So that is really cool. You can see the difference in the head sculpt as well. Now I will say, this is by far the best Quetzalcoatlus figure from Mattel. Best features, best scale, best everything. However, the Dominion Quetzalcoatlus has to take home the trophy for having the best design, because this is definitely a more accurate design for a Quetzalcoatlus. So Dominion's Quetzalcoatlus has the better design, but this one has the better toy aesthetic to it, but still really darn cool. So everyone, that's about to wrap it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love this figure. I highly recommend picking this figure up. It is definitely worth your money, and it is just an overall just a fantastic Quetzalcoatlus from Mattel. Definitely the more superior Quetzalcoatlus toy out of any Jurassic toy line, in my opinion. Now we just need a good toy like this, but in Dominion's Quetzalcoatlus form. That would be awesome. So maybe down the line we'll get something like that. But either way, this is the best Quetzalcoatlus from Mattel in terms of the toy form and all that. But really, really cool. I easily give this guy a 10 out of 10. So highly recommend it. Really cool in the movie. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Sorry it's a long one, but I really enjoyed this figure a lot. So like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you think, or let me know what you think about this figure in the comments down below. But other than that, I'll see you guys again for the next video.